Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kalicayo Tomo as a first speaker. Today, we have our motion that this laws would legalize same-sex marriage. Before I start to give my argument, I will explain the definition about this topic. The term same-sex in this debate means homosexual, and legalize means that to make legal or lawful. And the place for this debate would be most fair if it was set in countries that do allow homosexuality on the law but do not admit their right to marriage. It is now widely accepted fact that homosexuality is naturally made. Not only viewing from scientific studies that prove its absurdity, but also viewing from homosexual behavior that are documented on the way back from ancient Greece today. Homosexuality is also seen in 1,500 species of animal, includes mammal, bird, fish, reptile, amphibians, insect, and other invertebrates. Being proven to be innate homosexual simply should not be debatable or discriminated. But due to human race unfamiliarity with same-sex having affectionate bond, gay marriage debate become one of the most common debating topics around the world. The main essence of gay marriage debate is abandoning this social stereotype is necessary when there are organizations of people who renounce homosexuality. In this debate, I argue that same marriage should be legalized. Under the definition, the argument will not extend to regions where homosexuality is criminalized, for it is very unreasonable to extend the debate to those regions. My burden of proof will be to show that tolerance toward homosexuality is not enough, but legalization of their marriage should happen. I will present my case from two different aspects. The first, individual, and the second, benefit of legalization of gay marriage. By individual, I represent the homosexual couples themselves, and by social benefit, I represent the general community. I will elaborate my individual argument and social argument on this round. My argument about individual homosexual couples. Regardless of race, physical condition of lifestyle, every person is entitled of human rights. These rights are granted unconditionally, which means sexual preference do not prevent one from being entitled from this right. Taking a look at this right that is also fully granted to people with homosexual. It is promised that our human will be free from discrimination and treat equality in front of the law. There is absolutely no reason to exclude and forbid marriage between two individuals just because they are homosexual. Homosexuality is neither an option that one can choose nor a crime. It has been around in our world for millennium and all over the various of types of species. It is completely illogically to discriminate marital rights because of sexual preference, since marriage itself means a formal bond of affection between two individuals, and it's not about reproductive ability. Forbidding homosexual marriage is contradicting the spirit of equality, and legalizing it is serving and upholding the basic rights and humanity of human. Legalizing homosexual marriage is also abandoning by right to pursue happiness that all countries in the range of this debate as in one form or another. Everyone is entitled to pursue happiness in their lives as long as their actions are legal and moral. This means that forbidding homosexuality, which is not illegal under our definition, and moral has to be protected, and those who achieve happiness in means homosexuality should not be discriminated. Forbidding the right to marry the partner that one desire is not only a state tyranny but also is going against constitutional rights to pursue happiness. To protect this fundamental right, gay marriage has to be legalized. Nowadays, social norm against left-handers and has already changed. Left-handedness, which one was viewed as a disorder and misfortune, is now socially accepted. It became the part of social norm. Taking an example of the South Korea school, in the past generation for an abstention of usage of left hand from left-handers. Many parents forbid their children from their meal if they use left hand to manipulate eating utensils. This idea is still common among senior citizens of Korea. Many adults from past generations still denounce left-handedness, not force students to follow the majority. Parents who forbid male juice because their children use left hand to eat will most likely to become the target to look down on the community. The social norm did change in Korea. This similar analogy is enough to show that homosexuality can become a part of social norm. No one should be discriminated for factors they are born with. Homosexuality is one of factors that mankind are born with. Limiting their happiness and basic right from union with their loved one is ridiculous and needs abolition immediately. If an aberration that formed only 2.5% of general population slowly become a social norm, so can homosexuality, which is suspect in about 10 till 20% of the general population. To ensure happiness and to uphold the basic right of homosexual, legalization of gay marriage has to happen. Thank you.
Okay, well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here I am as the first speaker of the side of the House, absolutely disagree with the motion today that this House would legalize same-sex marriage. Well, before I deliver my argument, let me rebuttal first for the first speaker of the side of the House. The first thing, he said that homosexuality should not be debatable or discriminated by the surroundings. But actually, this is not true for and justifiable for their surrounding itself. And the second one is they say that gay marriage should be legalized to the region which is acknowledged the gay relationship but not allow the marriage. Of course, it is the fact which is support or proof why the gay marriage itself is not legalized yet. Because of what? Because if it is well legalized, it will give the slippery slope for the others such as the polygamy, besties, and etc. And the third one is by legalizing the gay marriage will prove the equality of the gay couple to the straight couple. But they didn't realize yet, ladies and gentlemen, that actually the acknowledgement of gay couple is already a kind of the equality of their surrounding itself. But gay marriage is impossible to realize with all the disadvantages and risks. Well, here let me through my arguments. We must know why these motions can appear in surround us. It is because lately there are so many same-sex relationships, and in here the limitation is gay relationship in surround us. For the first is, let me show you why this relationship could be made. The first one is biologic factor. It correlates with the chromosome of each person itself. And the second one is psychodynamic factor. It correlates to the psychosexual to their childhood. And the third is sociocultural factor. It correlates to their culture, habit. And the last one is environmental factor. It is the factor about the influence of their surroundings itself. The status quo of this motion is that the same-sex marriage or gay marriage itself is not common things happen in surround us. The affirmative side of the House limit this motion today just on homosexuals or gay marriage. Well, I'm the first speaker of negative side of the House. Absolutely disagree with the motion today because by legalizing this policy, it will bring more harm than good. Well, and as the first speaker will talk from justification point of view, my second speaker will talk from cause-effect point of view, and my third speaker will elaborate our team arguments. Even if we disagree with this motion today, ladies and gentlemen, we provide with the solution of this policy itself. It's better to give so many socialization in order to make them realize to have different sex marriage rather than deciding to have sex marriage with all the advantages and the disadvantages of each side. Well, ladies and gentlemen, why this gay marriage is not justifiable? The first one is the marriage has traditionally been defined as being between a man and a woman. So if we legalize the gay marriage, it means that we define wrongly about the marriage itself. The second one is same-sex marriage can produce children together. Allowing or legalizing gay marriage would and further shift the purpose of marriage from producing and raising children to adult. Even if they can adopt a children, it will distract the development of the children itself. And the third one is children need both a mother and a father. The role both of mother and father are really important for the children. A gay couple can fulfill their role as a mom and dad. That is why the gay marriage is not justifiable for us. And the fourth one is legalizing gay marriage could lead down a slippery slope, like I've said before, giving people in polygamous, incestuous chills, and other non-traditional relationship to the right to the marriage itself. And the fifth is allowing gay couple to marry could further weaken the institution of marriage. Legalization of gay marriage would further undermine institution that is essential to well-being of children and our society. Do we need to confuse our next generation or future generation about it? Of course, no, ladies and gentlemen. And the sixth one is homosexuality is immoral and unnatural because of what? Because the gay marriage itself or gay couple itself is the minority of our surroundings because the majority is a man and a woman itself. And seventh one is gay marriage is contrary to the word of God and is compatible with the beliefs, sacred texts, and traditions of many religious groups. And the eighth is legalizing gay marriage often leads to an end to domestic partnership benefit for gay and straight couples, which disadvantages couples who choose not to get married itself. And the ninth is gay marriage will accelerate the assimilation of gays into mainstream heterosexual culture to the detriment of the homosexual community itself. The 10th is marriage is an outmoded, oppressive institution that should be weakened, not to expanded. So by legalizing the gay marriage itself is not justifiable for our surroundings. The 11th is marriage is a privilege, not a right. The first, once again, marriage is a privilege, not a right. And the last one is legalizing gay marriage advance the homosexual agenda and unfairly points opponents as bigots. So that's why, ladies and gentlemen, by this 1, 2, 3, 4 till 12 points itself, this is not justifiable for us to legalizing the gay marriage itself. Because of what? From those reasons, we all know that this policy is not justifiable and brings more harm than good. So that's why I'm as the first speaker of negative side absolutely disagree with the motion today.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
The honorable educator, good afternoon to all members in this room. Before I deliver my argument, I would like to rebut the argument of the opposite team. They say that this is not common in surrounding us. So we have to support government to legalize our motion today that the House would legalize same-sex marriage. Okay, I would like to deliver my argument. Indonesia is a long way from achieving the openness and tolerance of the United States and Europe toward people of diverse sexualities. Experts and activists say, but a national commission of human rights or COMNAS statement calling for more protection for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender or LGBT people is a step in the right direction. They say adding the civil society groups should push the government to end discrimination and violence. We have to stop aggression and hostility directed towards them in their pursuit of happiness and economic advancement. I give you an example. In the United States and Europe are countries who have been legalized same-sex marriage. In the United States, the legalization of same-sex marriage benefits both LGBT people and America as a nation. It is an opportune time to refocus attention on the main advantages associated with the pursuit and achievement of marriage equality. The example, the legalization of same-sex marriage has consistently been shown to provide an economic boost to those countries that have embraced marriage equality. The marriage and wedding industry is a significant one. Allowing gay couples to marry provides businesses in this industry with a large and a new market access. Nearly 2060 $100 million was injected into the New York City economy in the year following legalization of the same-sex marriage. Gay marriage tourism benefits those regions which permit some sex marriage by attracting gay couples from other countries where it is not legal. Most large businesses understand the importance of recognizing gay marriage because it enables them to more radically retain LGBT staff and customers. Not surprisingly, an increasing number of national and global companies are now expressing support for marriage equality and speaking out in favor of gay marriage. Thus, it has to apply in Indonesia. So, I think it will help us increase our economic and give a lot of advantages for people in Indonesia. So, we have to support government to legalize same-sex marriage in Indonesia. And I strongly support our motion today that House would legalize same-sex marriage. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Oke, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Frankie. I'm from second speaker in negative team. This motion is this House will legalize same-sex marriage. Before it, I will debate the statement affirmative team. Decide that homosexual happen because factor economy. Okay, I will explain my argument. There are many factors that causes a man to be gay. According to psychologist Elirisman Moses, the recurring factor of which was that he was in an environment where homosexuality is seen as ordinary or common. Because there are not moral values or religion profit knowledge that he has the insight that is not strike on the relationship between man or women. A person can grow into a guy because of bad experience with family care as having a dominant mother, so that the child does not get a picture of a male figure. Or conversely, a boy had an abusive father or a father who is a homosexual. Another factor that might make a person out of his nature is early sexual experience, which is caused by science picture like porno of television, DVD, internet, comic on or other media in vicinity. Several factors. This trend will get worse if he joins with the adults who are homosexual. He does not have immunity in self-durability that comes from living the religion and its application, and are in a situation that makes forced by another person to communicate an activity that is prohibited by religion. The causes of sexual, such as the first, feeling selfless or less masculine, so it tends to feel every and away the man. And the two, the need for emotional against his father or liking, say never rejects or not been able to hide from his father. 3. Obstruction by friends, so that kind of longing for accepted the friends. 4. To close the mother figure, so that self-identify as a woman and difficult regard women as sexual objects. And the last number, never get a pleasant experience while dressed opposite sex. Homosexual or perform similar relationship between men and women is a form of real deviation, is not justified either socially, let alone religion. Besides Bennett, homosexuality would have a negative impact on health. So, what are the dangers posed to the culprits? And the first, vulnerable exposure to HIV, syphilis, hepatitis, and chlamydia infection. The bacteria enter through the anal orifice will greatly affect both homosexual couples. The virus can cause a variety of diseases are very harmful. Second, it allows the wall or swelling of the exhaust system or bleeding. It is because the anal orifice should be used as a suite also functions as an odor for the patient, of which should be contained in women, injured and infected, even resulting in pus in oris that could threaten the culprit. Third, the effects are further induced behavior checks. Psychological imbalance is to the behavior of a gay or homosexual offender tends to have negative effects on the nervous system and a distress in the system or the brain, resulting in a gay person will be more comfortable with the fraud that he did, even though he realized that is wrong and less reality thinking. And last number, there is a text that says that once you commit sodomy or sodomism, then forever you became gay. Low level will greatly affect a person's emotional behavior when interacting in their environment. And gay behavior is one of the bad things that can affect a person. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wanda. I am as the third speaker from the negative team. I will give the elaborate from my first and second speaker. My first speaker have 2 points of view. The first one is individual point of view. He said that we have to protect the human right of the guy or of the guy couple. He said that we have because they feel that they were discriminated. Based on the survey of LSE or Lembaga Survey Indonesia in 2012, the discrimination that is given to the LGBT from 2005 to 2012 has increased 15.9%. In 2005, in 2005 is 64.7%, but in 2012 it has 80.6%. Most of the case is the people who don't want to have an LGBT neighbor. The second is social point of view. He said he holds that the norm has been changed. The norm has been changed. It is considered a taboo has been started to do by everyone. For example, for the analogy, is the education, sex education. When we talk about sex education, it was considered a taboo subject for students. But now, the lessons of sex has been given to the student of junior high school. My second speaker have an economical point of view. She said that gay marriage can increase the economical countries. She also gives the example from America. Nearly $260 million was injected into the New York City economy in the year following legalization of the same-sex marriage. Gay marriage tourism benefit those regions which permit same-sex marriage by attracting gay couples from other states and countries where it is not legal. Most large business understand the importance of recognize gay marriage because it enables them to more readily retain LGBT staff and customers. That surprisingly, and it's not surprisingly, an increasing number of national and global companies are now expressing support for marriage and speaking out in front of gay marriage. The other example is in 1st January 2015, Vietnam has been legalized the same-sex marriage. Vietnam is the second country in Asia who has legalized the same-sex marriage after Israel. Nguyen Anh Tuan, as the owner of Guy Hanoi Tours, said that the tourism has been increased 50% compared last year. So we can conclude that if we legalize the same-sex marriage, we can increase our country income from the tourism. We can also introduce our country more to the world. Okay, that's all for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am the speaker from Ikip Pgri Madiun. This motion is this house same-sex marriage. I will elaborate from first speaker. Marriage is for procreation and should not be extended to same-sex couple because they cannot produce children together, and it is not good for society in country. And then children need both mother and father, not only mother or just father. And then allowing gay marriage with hope future, we can weaken the institution of marriage. And from second speaker, any dangerous spots to culprit like first, vulnerable exposure to HIV, and the second is alone the both or swelling of the exhaust system or bleeding. And the third, the effect are future education's behavior change, physiology imbalances thus to the behavior of gay. And any more, do you know so many diseases from homosexual? I will give examples from diseases to homosexual. First, health risks of the homosexual lifestyle. It is among heterosexual highly sexual practice such as and sex are very common. And then homosexual have very high rates of sexuality transmission infections such as HIV, which pose a major burden to the health service. And then the homosexual lifestyle is associated with a large number of very serious physical and emotional health consequences. And then as a result, a large number of diseases are associated with anal intercourse. The majority of homosexual men, any 60%, engage anal sex frequently without condom, and even if they know that they are HIV positive. And increasing prevalences of male homosexual pregnancy and practice in Britannia. As a result, large number is detected, and then many of which are rare of even unknown in the heterosexual population, such as any anal cancer, chlamydia trachomatis, Cryptosporidium, Giardia lamblia, herpes simplex, HIV, human papillomavirus, Isospora belli, Microsporidia gonorrhea, syphilis, hepatitis B and C, and the others. And then, will always condom use reduce the risk contraction HIV by about 65%. Condom even with suits 700 on the time fail to give adequate level of protection against many non-HIV STD such as syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes, genital warts, and others. They only save sex apart from abstinence, mutual monogamy with an unaffected partner. Sex, condom, and STD what we know in medical institute for sexual health. And then the last, homosexuals have very high rates of sexually transmitted infection as a HIV, which pose a major disease. Over 70% of all AIDS diagnosed in Canada in adults over the age of 15 up to were in homosexual men. Of all positive HIV tests are found in homosexual men. This contrasts with just over 15% of all positive HIV tests which are due to the heterosexual contact. Okay, this is my rebuttal and thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am reply from affirmative team. Before I start my reply, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Janan Tanto. Okay, first I would like to give reply for affirmative team. This is the logic from affirmative team. The first is the affirmative team thinking the benefit by individual and general. So it means the affirmative team thinking about the circumstance from the individual, the participant of same-sex marriage, and from general it means from the community. The second is free discrimination from community. By legalized same-sex marriage, it means the participant, the same-sex marriage would like to free from discrimination by community, by people in their around.
And the third is makes happiness for those. Those it means the participants from same-sex marriage. They can feel happily and feel free to enjoy his life with their faith. And the last is Indonesia protect everybody's right. As said before, Indonesia is a freedom country. So by those statements, the same-sex marriage must be legalized. And the next is the illogic from negative thing. The first is thinking the disadvantage but not thinking the participant feeling. By ban or unlegalized same-sex marriage, it means will hurt the participant feelings. So that can very give a bad effect for them. And the second is discriminate by norm. So it's mean limiting people's freedom in globalization era. Indonesia is a freedom country and now is a globalization era. So that is something impossible, limiting people freedom by ban or unlegalized same-sex marriage. So by those reply, I can give conclusion. The affirmative team should be win in this debate. Okay, that's my reply from me, and thank you very much.